I worked the border on and off for a little over 20 years. And I first ran into jihadis in Texas 19 years ago in West Texas in Hudspeth County. Sinaloa Cartel was bringing them across the river and through my buddy's ranch. And when his wife complained about it, because he was a jailer for Hudspeth County Sheriff's Department, and when she blew the whistle on what was coming through the ranch, the Sinaloa Cartel went to her sister on the other side of the river and said, "Tell your sister to shut the F up, or we're going to cut her head off and take it back to Chihuahua." So we staged there for a couple of days with 5 different law enforcement agencies. And a couple of years, and that got me introduced to a guy named John Guandolo. And at the time, John Guandolo, Rich Higgins had just made him head a co-lead and a task force out of the Department of Defense, educating politicians and the military on the threats of Sharia law and the Muslim Brotherhood. So when we ran into that down in West Texas, the Bush administration tried to cover it up and say it never happened. Then a few years later, we ran into more jihadis in South Texas coming through my buddy Mike Vickers' ranch. And when they went after these guys, the coyote who was leading these, we think they were either northern Afghanis or Pakistanis. They spoke Urdu, and they had an Urdu to English dictionary so he could communicate with them. When they hit the fence, that fell out of his pocket. So we still have that as a souvenir. And then about 11 years ago, I wake up in the morning reading the Daily Mail, and CARE, Council on American Islamic Relations, had been bullying the school superintendent in our small school district to put Sharia law in my daughter's school, because there was a student that said he was offended by a history lesson, and not wanting to defend anybody, the school superintendent said, "Oh, okay, we'll just make it so no kids can draw any of the prophets." Well, that's Sharia law. It's not just Muhammad you're not allowed to draw, it's any of the prophets. But we were pretty blessed because I had all this training through the years with this task force out of DOD, and the head of the school board was my buddy Ed, and Ed's family had escaped Iran, and they killed his family members and stuff there, so he knew what was going on. So it was really simple. Using the techniques that I had learned through this task force, we rallied the churches, we rallied the people at the town council meeting who all went to the school board meeting. And in an unprecedented move, 5-0, the liberals and the conservatives came together over the First Amendment and kicked Sharia out of the school district. And CARE came back and said, "Well, we're